I'm going to show you how Tesla Energy, Tesla Solar, Tesla Powerwall, Tesla Megapack deliver huge value to their customers and how that's going to make Tesla Energy a huge business, generating billions in profit and raising Tesla's share price to the moon, Mars, and beyond. Are you ready? Let's go! So a lot of Tesla fans talk about AutoBidder. AutoBidder is a critical feature of Tesla Energy products, the software that helps Tesla make more money and make their customers make more money. There's another feature called Opticast that I haven't seen anyone talk about. And there was a webinar put on by Energy Toolbase with the Tesla team talking about how Opticast delivers great value to Tesla's customers. I'm going to show you clips from this webinar. I'll show you how this benefits customers, and we can see how that translates to great revenue and great profits for Tesla going forward. So let's get this party started.
Today we're going to be overviewing and demoing our newly launched commercial integration, energy storage integration with Tesla. We're really excited to be joined by the Tesla team as our commercial integration is now live on the Energy Toolbase platform.
Okay, so some background. Energy Toolbase is a software provider. They provide software that helps companies either decide how to buy solar and battery storage or how to sell solar and battery storage. So basically in this webinar, Energy Toolbase was showing how their software could be used to sell Tesla's software and hardware to customers. We're going to see some more information about how Tesla's products help the customers. That's pretty much what this is about, and how you can demonstrate that help, how you can demonstrate the savings, basically the cost savings over a period of years when you install Tesla Solar, Tesla Powerwall, Tesla Megapack. Basically what it does is commercial customers in particular, and some residential customers can do this, they have a lower price in off-peak hours and a higher price in peak hours. So they can shift their consumption of electricity from the grid by charging their Megapack or Powerwall during off-peak hours, and then during peak hours they draw energy out of their storage device, Megapack or Powerwall, and that shifts pricing. So they save a lot of money because they're buying the electricity at the low price and using it at that same low price while everyone else is paying the higher price. Typically in this model that they use, the peak pricing is double the price of the regular time. So there's a huge potential cost saving, where AutoBidder is about using your Megapack or whatever storage you have to bid to serve the grid. This is just for customers managing their own energy usage rather than trying to feed energy into the grid.
As many of you know, Tesla is not just an electric vehicle company.
This is a member of the Tesla team talking to the webinar now, explaining how this is all going to work together.
We are a clean energy company with serious and ambitious goals. In working with Energy Toolbase, we aim to make a more simple, streamlined, and scalable approach for our partners to bring clean energy solutions to market. So as you can see from the sectors listed above, our solutions focus on many different areas and even subsectors below these. For example, we have solutions that serve existing and new homes markets, island nations, areas prone to natural disasters, remote communities, urban communities, and even suburban environments.
You can see here the potential for Tesla to serve a broad array of markets. He just described regionally how it works. You can see on the slide by category how it works. He's going to talk about that next.
From the slide above, this is how we typically think of the world, and we think many of our channel partners do as well. But we see a lot of very specific applications within these sectors themselves: residential, commercial, utility, and microgrids.
Now, this is a pretty interesting slide and discussion about the scale of Tesla's energy business. And remember, this is back in November 2019. So we're like 2 years, 2.5 years later than this. Tesla's business has scaled much more than this. So listen to how he talks and then think, add 2.5 years, add that the business has grown quite a bit.
This is really what gets us excited in working with our partners. This is the current impact of Tesla Energy products across the world. Today, we have over 2.5 gigawatt hours of Tesla batteries operating in the field. We have over 3.5 gigawatts of solar operating across 40 countries globally. And this number continues to grow rapidly. We are clearly one of the most experienced advanced energy storage providers in the world and are looking for best-in-class partners to work with to continue to offer these solutions to market.
This is, again, 2.5 years ago, one of the leading providers of this, one of the leading players in the game. 2.5 years later, Tesla, and growing fast. So 2.5 years later, Tesla's grown a lot faster. They've gotten a lot bigger. They're a much bigger player. A lot more gigawatts of solar deployed, a lot more gigawatt hours of battery storage deployed as well.
You can see from the Tesla product ecosystem, as we dive deeper into these products are all aligned with our mission. How do we drive sustainability and clean energy into the market? Our products generate, consume, and store clean energy.
You can just see how broad the span is of Tesla's business, that they can talk about everything across this list of products.
Our vehicle lineup has expanded to include sedans, SUVs, semi-trucks, and soon to be revealed pickup trucks. To enable widespread adoption of these vehicles, Tesla has also developed incredible charging technology and infrastructure at the supercharging level down to the home charging level. And most relevant to this group, a product suite that crosses solar panels, traditional and solar glass, as well as Powerwall, Powerpack, and Megapack, which cover our residential, light commercial, and utility scale applications.
Residential, light commercial, utility. They're covering a big array with this. And the focus of this talk is going to be about solar, Powerwall, Megapack, and Powerpack. And then software, the way the software makes those three products work really well for customers.
Importantly, these batteries aren't inherently intelligent. So we've also created multiple software products and platforms to help us deliver value to customers. Tesla provides a truly integrated storage solution. As you can see across the Powerwall, Powerpack, Megapack, software and services, these solutions encompass hardware, software, and service for all of our customers.
So that was an introduction. Let's dive deeper.
Today, I wanted to take the time to introduce Opticaster, which is Tesla's intelligent control software for distributed energy resources. So we started developing Opticaster since the start of Tesla Energy, and it has been the fundamental machine learning engine that powers all Tesla Energy products. And as the name suggests, it forecasts and optimizes the site load in real time to maximize economic benefits and sustainability objectives of our end customers. There are a lot of companies out there that stack their own software on Tesla hardware, but I would say no one else operates Tesla products better than Tesla ourselves. We have insights way beyond a limited set of telemetry data through customer-facing API. We have deep knowledge and insights to cell-level signals and real-time low-level BMS logics that take software operation to the next level.
So the key point here is, and she's using a lot of buzzwords and a lot of technical speak, but basically Tesla's software for operating Tesla's storage devices and solar, etc., is more sophisticated than other software options out there. We're going to see a lot of this here, but you can see intelligent forecasting and optimization. They're using machine learning to figure out when's the optimal time to charge your storage device, your Powerwall or Megapack, and when are optimal times to discharge, to use the electricity from the storage device when you consider pricing, demand, and all these other characteristics. And this is going to be a deeper dive into that now. And this applies in a bunch of different ways. In particular, we're going to look at peak shaving and load shifting in this video. There's a lot of other ways that come up that aren't really addressed in this particular webinar.
Our dedicated team of machine learning experts is constantly improving our forecast accuracy and developing co-optimization algorithms that elegantly address a variety of use cases listed here. As you can see from the chart in the middle, we not only just save you money on utility bills, but also interact with the grid to participate in demand response programs, doing system-level peak shaving, and many other ancillary services whenever possible. And the results really speak for itself. To date, Opticaster has accumulated over 100 million hours of operational experience with all types of energy assets, building profiles, utility rates, and market rules.
100 million hours, that was 2.5 years ago. One of the big advantages Tesla has demonstrated repeatedly with artificial intelligence is more data. More data with self-driving cars, more data with energy products. Fitting that data into machine learning means you get better results. You get more optimized software that delivers you better driving in the case of cars and better load shifting, peak shaving, demand response algorithms. All of that works better when you have better machine learning, which comes from more data.
We're delivering over tens of millions in value creation across thousands of sites across the globe. And today, we're very excited to announce that Opticaster rate optimization service will be provided at no additional cost. In other words, your customers can receive every single penny of their demand and TOU savings free of charge.
An important detail here about what this webinar is about. Your customers, the people who are watching this webinar, are people who are selling energy products to consumers, typically to businesses in this case. It's not that Energy Toolbase is selling energy products to customers, but Energy Toolbase is a software that is used by third parties who work with retail chains or office buildings, say, let's help you figure out the best energy system you can have to save some money on your energy costs. I'm not actually sure who the third parties are that they're talking to. There's some area of sales that people they're working with try to help people get better results, and pitching Tesla as a way to achieve that.
Really wanted you to know that when you purchase our system, it's not just about the equipment you're buying, but the entire Tesla energy solution and the Tesla team that will support you throughout your project lifecycle.
And let's be clear, Tesla is giving away the software. So you buy a Tesla Powerwall, you buy a Tesla Megapack, all this software is included. You don't have to buy other software, and all this software is optimized to work with these products and with your environment, and it learns to work better with your environment. So this is really a brilliant solution, and it's really, they're using the software to sell the hardware. I think there are ways in which Tesla's software will ultimately make Tesla money as well, but here we're talking about using the software to sell the hardware.
At Tesla, for every single deployment, we're constantly running simulations to automatically analyze performance and update site-specific improvement strategies over time. So as shown in this net load profile post-storage post-feed in the upper graph, Opticaster diligently performs peak shaving, energy shifting, and self-consumption. And I wanted to highlight that actual field battery dispatch power, which is highlighted in blue, follows almost exactly with the most optimal simulated schedule in orange. So in the past, providing this level of accuracy and granularity to our customers is achievable, but very time-consuming. After extensive simulations and benchmarking with Energy Toolbase algorithms, we're now able to instantly generate Tesla validated savings on Energy Toolbase that closely match Opticaster actual field performance.
There's a couple of things that are important to note here. If you look at these two graphs, you'll see blue lines and yellow lines. And the point is that the Tesla simulation figures out where the demand is going to be, and it ends up predicting where they're going to need to draw energy and where they're going to want to store energy. So on the lower graph, you see battery power. That's how much juice there is in the battery. In the upper graph, you see how much is being drawn from how much usage there is of electricity. And you can see that over time, you can see like at the very beginning on the net load chart up on the top, on the left side, you can see it was off. And over time, it figures it out. It gets better. The machine learning figures out where's the demand going to be, and it very accurately matches it. So your hardware delivers electricity when you need it and saves energy, stores energy when you don't need it. Very, very efficient way of handling things.
To give a little context for what type of customer and what shape load profile we're looking at. So this is a PG&E office building type load customer.
Type of customer, type of load. We're looking right now at seasonal load in this picture. And PG&E, by the way, is Pacific Gas and Electric. This is, generally speaking, California electricity customers. And you can see on this graph, winter, spring, summer, fall, you can see where the demand is. You can see summer has the highest demand. That's when there's going to be the most use of air conditioning. And you're going to see a little bit more about that. Listen to this guy.
This is actually real data and very in typical office building fashion. You got the Monday through Friday, kind of 7 a.m. to 5 or 6 p.m. shoulder. Weekends, not a lot of load. And it looks to be pretty consistent that way throughout the year for this first case study run we're looking at.
They're talking about how demand shifts over time. And you can see from 9 a.m. to 6 p.m., demand for electricity in these buildings surges. Especially in the summer, the surge is even bigger. On weekends, you don't see a big shift in demand because people aren't coming into the office. This is an office building type customer. There'll be another customer we might see where they talk about a store where there might be more business on weekends. So the software is able to figure out when your demand is, and it's able to match your demand with adjusting the battery usage, filling up the battery when there's no demand, discharging the battery when there's high demand, and particularly when the rates are high, and that saves the customer money. It's also better for the grid. It's also better for society. Peak loads on the grid are the hardest thing for the grid. So if you're able to shift some users off the peak time on the grid, you actually make the whole grid function better, even without serving energy back to the grid. So now let's take a look at the Powerwall example.
Okay, so under the designs, you can see the all the most recently made available equipment designs. Actually, just yesterday, working with the Tesla team, we did release 20-year warranty versions of the both Powerpack and Megapack products. I'm going to talk about that in my next case study when we look at a bigger project. For this initial run, I'm actually going to be using Powerwall. I think sometimes there may be a conception that this is just a residential product, but based on the direction of the Tesla team, you can absolutely use these in commercial applications as well. I'm going to be running this one with the Opticaster with the requirement that it charges from PV.
Charges from PV, photovoltaic. It's charging from solar.
Just to get a view of what the savings differences would be across a range of different system sizes.
So again, this is being pitched to the software energy tool base using Tesla products is being pitched to salespeople. He's going to show examples so you can show the customers. You're a salesperson, you're going into an office building or a store, and you're going to say, here's how we can save you money with energy tool base and Tesla storage, Tesla solar. So check out what he's going to show you here with electric bill savings.
So I usually like to start kind of down here in the total electric bill savings chart, and down there in the x-axis, effectively what that represents is 1 Powerwall, 2 Powerwall, 3 Powerwall, and so on. And you can kind of just see the shape of this curve. There is some diminished marginal return as we continue to size up.
He talked about diminishing marginal returns. What you see is the slope doesn't change much from Powerwall 1 to Powerwall 2 to Powerwall 3. Because what you'll see is if you don't have enough Powerwalls, you can't keep discharging energy to the grid during the peak time. You'll run out of Powerwall and you'll be back to using the full grid. So if there's a lot of demand for electricity during peak and having multiple Powerwalls gets you there, at a certain point that additional Powerwall isn't saving you that much anymore.
For this case study, how about I just choose 4 for this first run? For this run here, why don't I just use a really round number of $1,000 per kilowatt hour installed? And this is 54 kilowatt hours of capacity. So
we're talking about 4 Powerwalls, which is 54 kilowatt hours, and they're pricing it at $54,000. Now the residential price for Powerwall is $7,500, so 4 Powerwalls would be $30,000. So back in 2019 at least, they were charging a lot more for Powerwalls, at least to commercial customers. Maybe they were charging less for residential customers. Maybe this is some add-on cost when you figure there's the third party taking a piece of the sale. But $54,000 seems like a lot to me for 4 Powerwalls, because right now, as far as I know, it's $7,500. So maybe there's something more there's something additional that's being provided to commercial customers that residential customers don't get. Some higher level of service, the installation, something that's more complicated. But I thought that was an interesting little detail.
So I think a lot of folks are used to running storage simulations in Energy Toolbase, and oftentimes the very first numbers they want to know right away is how much did the storage, in this case, the 4 Powerwalls save for this very specific project, which is obviously very specific to the load profile of the customer, the rate schedules we've defined in step 2, and in this case, the solar system that we've coupled along with it. And we always express that answer right there in dollars per kilowatt hour of storage capacity. So if you want to just kind of quickly put that into dollar terms, it's really simple. $57 per kilowatt hour of storage capacity. We've got 54 kilowatt hours. That's the 4 Powerwalls. So we're saving about $3,100 year one on this particular run.
So you're going to see how this adds up. If you say $3,100 in year one and you spent $54,000 on the Powerwalls, after about 12 years or 15 years, if you spent $54,000 on your Powerwalls and you save $3,100 a year, It's going to take a while to pay back the cost of the power walls. This is why getting the cost of storage down is going to matter a whole lot. If you get the cost of power walls down to say $7,500 a piece, and the install is $30,000 for 4 power walls for a customer, and it saves $3,100 a year for that customer, then in less than 10 years, you've made your money back. And this is one of the things that a lot of people in business are looking for. And I think a lot of residential customers should be looking for too. How long is it going to take me to pay back the cost of putting in this system? How long does it take the savings to account for that and save me enough money to make this make sense?
This is one of our legacy templates a lot of folks are used to looking at for the solar plus 4 Powerwall project for this PG&E customer on the B10. It looks like a pretty attractive payback of about 7 years, almost 11% IRR. Let me jump down to the cash flow, because I think a lot of times this is right where a lot of folks go to kind of interpret what all just happened. So this is maybe a good opportunity for me to, again, make mention of the equipment replacement. Okay, so the Powerwall product that's been preloaded, working with Tesla in Energy Toolbase, has a 15-year life. So you can see that replacement happening in year 16. So I guess this goes back to my earlier point that I was trying to make. If I'm in your shoes and I'm developing this project to get a sale, I would be really mindful of how I'm showing and how I'm choosing to show the transaction term. So what I actually did here, I don't like, because effectively I'm saying let's replace the power walls and swap in 4 fresh power walls in year 16, but I'm only showing a 20-year transaction term. So very quickly kind of correcting that, I think it would probably be more appropriate. Let's go out 5 years and rerun this and show this on a 25-year basis. And of course, there's different strategies for this. I'm certainly not saying do it this way. This is just kind of a tip to kind of keep in mind if we're doing a replacement at, in this case, year 16, let's show additional benefit for a few more years. So there you go. I just added out to a 25-year transaction term. And certainly if we were looking at this project on like a net present value basis or a 25-year internal rate of return basis, this is more strategic, right? Because we're incurring the cost of that replacement. Let's show the additional 10 years of benefit.
This is clearly a salesman talking, right? You're trying to sell this to a customer, and if you sell them that you're going to this over a 20-year time span and the equipment is being replaced after 15 years, then you're paying for 2 pieces of equipment that will really last 30 years, and you're only showing the benefit for 20 years, so you're missing the last 10 years of benefit. He talks about this in here that, one option is to carry it out to 25 years so you have a better picture of the long-term benefits. Another option is to just limit it to 15 years in the first piece of equipment. This makes a lot more sense to me because the equipment 15 years from now is going to cost a lot less because the batteries are going to cost a lot less. And Tesla's going to have manufacturing down on Powerwall by 15 years, if not much sooner. So the cost of the Powerwalls will be much lower when you have to replace them in 15 years. Much lower, probably better performance. So the gains 15 years from now are going to be much better.
Possibly another strategy that we've seen folks use that I think is also viable is maybe you wanted to choose simply a 15-year transaction term where you're not even necessarily showing a replacement cost to your customer in the analysis.
I'm surprised he missed the point that the cost of replacing this hardware in 15 years is going to be less. Maybe you don't want to say that to your customer because of the Osborne effect, that they'll say, well, why don't we wait a couple years and get cheaper hardware? But, looking 15 years out, hey, this is probably going to cost you 10, 20% less 15 years from now, even though it's really going to cost 50% less. It's still a pretty good sales pitch. This is how much money I'm going to save you in the first 15 years. And then we're going to come back in 15 years and we're going to sell you something that's probably going to save you even more money. I'm not a salesman. I don't necessarily know what works. I was kind of surprised that it didn't occur to him that really you don't want to price this out beyond 15 years. You don't want to price it out. When you're selling this kind of equipment that's coming down in cost over time, you don't want to price this out beyond the life of the first piece of equipment. So now we're going to see this on a daily and even hourly basis. Check this out.
So let me jump down to a maybe summer month. I'll toggle down to like a July, August billing cycle. And let's zoom in on like a week there and just kind of spend about a minute interpreting what just happened. This is our 100 kW solar PV data, which came in from PV Watts. And now let's look at the dispatch that Energy Toolbase generated, which again is meant to be really representative of the Opticaster operating in the field. This is doing both peak shaving and load shifting, as Sihi mentioned during her segment. It looks like the B10 demand charge, if you see my mouse on bottom, I'm kind of getting a little bit technical here, but it's $12.25 a kW. So that's certainly going to get targeted, and we're going to do some peak shaving.
What he's saying is, if you look at the line at the bottom, you can see the price of electricity. In the completely off hours, the price of electricity is much lower. There's this shoulder period. There's this, you can see the shape of the curve there. There's this peak time where the price is really high, and there's an hour or so on either side of that where the price is in between. So that's what he's showing you. Check this out.
The B10 rate also offers a really nice arbitrage opportunity, 27 cents per kilowatt hour on peak, and that's that new 4 to 9 window. 17 cents per kilowatt hour off peak. So you can actually see in the dispatch here, we are absolutely doing a good handful of time shifting as well, effectively charging the battery entirely from solar in the off peak and a little bit of mid peak period, and then discharging back on peak, effectively selling back at 27 cents, but making sure we do so such that we're not exporting back to grid.
It's 17 cents per kilowatt in the off-peak time. That's when they charge the battery. When they get to peak time, that's when they use the battery at 27 cents a kilowatt. So by shifting that, they're saving 10 cents a kilowatt over the peak times, as long as they can use the battery to discharge into the grid until the battery runs out. So that's the Powerwall example. Let's take a look at the Megapack example. A couple of really interesting details in here about how much Megapack costs, and you can see a much bigger impact on energy savings for the Megapack customer.
This is obviously a very large customer. You can see actual peak demands almost approximating 1,000 kilowatt hours in some of those summer months.
That was 1,000 kilowatts, not 1,000 kilowatt hours. Nitpicky, but that's what that was.
And you can see a little bit different in shape. This is real data once again, like a large store that has actually a good amount of cold storage. Like, I don't want to say supermarket, but like a large store that's got a lot of always on load. Because I mean, look at that. I mean, literally we have 400 kW in the evening always on load. So that's now the load profile we're going to be running this second case study against.
So just to summarize there, we're looking at a large store that does a lot of cold storage, but it's not a grocery store. Sounds like a Walmart or Target to me, but it could be something else. Maybe there's something in California that's similar to that, but a large store with a lot of cold storage. The peak was not that much higher than the base because that cold storage uses a lot of electricity. So it's using a lot of electricity 24 hours a day. And at peak times, it uses more because they kick up the air conditioning or whatever other demand there is, lighting, etc., during the daytime. Let's see how this plays out as we move forward.
On this particular run, we're going to bring out one of the big ones, and we're going to run the 1257 kW, 2514 kWh Megapack.
Just to be clear, that's a 2.5 megawatt hour Megapack. My understanding was that Megapack was a 3 megawatt hour device. Maybe back then that and we'll see as we go through that there is a 3 megawatt hour version of Megapack, and it may be that they've eliminated the 2.5 megawatt hour version, but it's interesting to see that there's some diversity in the different Megapacks. It's not a one size fits all. There's some variability in how much power it can output, and there's variability in how much storage there is.
Of course, important that we're going to choose the Opticaster with no charging requirement, obviously, because there is no solar here.
So 1 Megapack, no solar.
On the system cost side, once again, we defer to you, the user, to tell us that value. Talking with the Tesla folks for this particular run, I think we were going to price this for the demo here at about $450 per kilowatt hour installed. So 2514 times 450, about $1.1 million. Actually, why don't I just round up?
Just to be clear here, he's going to round up to $1.2 million. If you look in the box where he's about to type, it currently shows 1.6 million. So there's a wide variability in pricing for Megapack, and it appears the default price for Megapack that this system pulled up was 1.6 million. He's about to reduce it to 1.2 million. And notice he talked about $450 a kilowatt hour. He's going to mention $500 a kilowatt hour next. I have typically talked about my battery revenue model for Tesla was $600 a kilowatt hour. And I have said in the past, I think Megapack is getting less than that $600 a kilowatt hour. The cars are getting more than $600 a kilowatt hour in revenue. Megapack is less. I thought Megapack might be as low as $300 a kilowatt hour. Apparently, at least in this example, they're pricing it closer to $450 or $500 a kilowatt hour. So it's not that far off vehicle revenue on a per kilowatt hour basis.
Have a nice round number. I think it's not really material to the analysis, but we're going to be down in the 450 to, let's call it 500 per kilowatt hour installed range. Jumping back here, we performed the simulation, again, a storage only Megapack simulation. Let's just kind of really quickly put that into dollar terms, I always like to do. So in this case, 56 times 2514, we're saving about $140,000 on this particular run.
So he's calculating energy savings per kilowatt hour times the number of kilowatt hours. They're saving $56 a kilowatt hour, and they've got 2,514 kilowatt hours in a Megapack, and that's how he came up with that number, saving $140,000 a year. You're going to see how this plays out next.
And again, I'm going to toggle down to a summer month. I always like starting in the summer and then kind of backing out from there.
So summer months are the most emphatic because energy usage is the highest in summer months. So the numbers look better to the customer if you show them the summer months, because that's when they're using more electricity.
And again, here's that big box store or big large retailer. And in this case, we're just effectively overlaying the Opticaster dispatch. Now, this is really interesting here. On the ALTOU in the summer, there's a really high on-peak demand charge. If you see where I'm hovering my mouse right here, the combined on-peak demand charge is $54.88 per kW. Okay, whereas the max non-coincident demand charge, which is still high, coming in at $25.63 per kW. But really interesting to see kind of what the dispatch did here. You can really see that the strategy and the Opticaster simulation here is really targeting to shave peak in that 4 to 9 window because it's just so much more valuable.
What he's showing you there again is the system charges up in off-peak hours when the rates are low. When you get into the on-peak hours where the rates jump, they start discharging the Megapack into the system using electricity from Megapack to lower or eliminate energy consumption at peak period. A few hours into this, the Megapack starts discharging less because it's trying to manage its flow, and they start drawing from the grid. So this is one of those questions he doesn't address here. Would it have made sense to go to a second Megapack? Would that have added enough savings? How much savings would that have added? Doesn't really address it here. I suspect that a second Megapack would have been overkill, and that would have reduced the overall savings. They're still buying a lot of electricity at peak time in this model, and it's just a big question. How much more would a second Megapack do? And then, of course, this is the summer months when you're using more electricity, so maybe in the winter months the gain wouldn't be as much. Not really clear. He didn't really explain it, but this is an important detail when you're figuring out how to do this. And the really big thing is over time, as the cost of the batteries come down, as manufacturing improves in terms of manufacturing Megapack and Powerwall, the cost of these systems should go down, and the increase in electricity savings net of the cost of the system should go up. So there's going to be much higher demand for Megapack and Powerwall. There's already substantial demand. They're already saving people a lot of money. You're going to see that in the next slide. They're already saving people a lot of money. The gain is going to go up. It's going to be even more valuable to use energy storage in the future. And this is where we're going to see this massive spike in demand for Powerwalls and Megapacks at the commercial level. And I think at the residential level as well. Here in Florida, you can opt to have this dual pricing where you pay less during off-peak hours and more during peak hours. And then if you put a Powerwall in or have a Powerwall system, you can save some money doing that. Even if you don't even have solar, you can save money doing it.
When we're performing this simulation, it's really effectively kind of an economic optimization dispatch. And it is in our best interest here to really target and shave demand in the 4 to 9 rather than prioritizing the non-coincident. It's just worth so much more money.
That last thing he said there's kind of interesting. There's a lot of different things that Opticast can do and AutoBidder can do in terms of, on the one hand, you can peak shave, you can reduce the amount of electricity you're drawing from the grid at the peak times. You could go further, and demand response is where the grid needs energy, and you could use your Megapack or your Powerwall to serve energy to the grid and actually make money from the grid. There's a lot of different options there. There are other things that they can use these systems to do to save even more money. He didn't get into any of that in this discussion, but it's just, this is like a really big savings right here, and there's more that he's not even covering. Tremendous potential for Tesla energy storage and solar to make a huge difference for commercial customers and residential customers in the future. But listen to some more.
Quite an attractive project. I think we'd all agree, coming in at 5.5 years on a payback, 16% on a 20-year IRR basis. Let's jump down to the cash flow and kind of interpret what happened. So there's our S-chip incentive, which again is going to be really lucrative because it's the higher level in step 3, not taking the ITC.
One of the things that's going on here that isn't discussed in depth is there's these incentive programs from government, most likely, that encourage people to install these systems. Maybe from the utility, maybe from government. In setting this up, I left this out, but he particularly chose not to include a tax incentive that didn't apply. If you get tax incentives on top of this, it's even better. But the savings are juiced by these other incentives. The savings on the energy alone are already huge. Going out over 20 years, you're going to see this. But there's a lot of different things that come into play here that make this a very valuable investment for the company. For the retail store, the store that's putting this in, they're saving so much on electricity and they're getting other benefits. It really makes it worth it.
Call it $141,000, $142,000 of savings from the Megapack. And again, right, this is the 20-year warranty product, which effectively has a 20-year replacement life. And given that I kind of strategically chose a 20-year transaction term, effectively we're not even showing an equipment replacement happening because that would actually happen the following year in year 21. This is all very real data on the usage side, certainly on the pricing side. That's something you need to get with Tesla folks on.
You can see at the bottom of the energy savings column, it's something like $3 million saved over 20 years. Because you figure it was like $140,000 times 20 years. It gets close to $3 million. I think the savings go up in later years. So $3 million for a $1.2 million investment. Now, the way business works, it's not so straightforward, but then you add in this S-chip incentives, and it basically pays itself back in 5.5 years, and then you're just saving money for another 15 years. This is fantastic. This is why this is so important for businesses, and what ultimately means that we make our world a better place. If you can shave peak, if you can reduce electricity demand at the peak, then you need fewer energy production sites, energy generation sites. It means fewer fossil fuel power plants, fewer nuclear plants. You actually end up needing less solar, less wind. It's a really, really useful plan going forward. To me, the biggest takeaway from this was just how much money Tesla's going to make selling Megapacks and Powerwalls, that they pay for themselves. If you are a residential or commercial customer and you're able to take advantage of these benefits, you're just going to save a lot of money. You're going to spend $1.2 million on a Megapack and you're going to save $3 million plus in the long term. That's a no-brainer to me. And then looking forward, as the price of batteries comes down and you're able to get the cost of that Megapack down to $750,000, let's say, you're still generating $3 million in savings, if not more, for the customer. So this is just huge, huge benefits coming from these products. And that means huge demand for these products that Tesla is going to be able to serve. They're just going to make a ridiculous amount of money selling these devices. Somewhere in this video, I saw that the 3 megawatt hour Megapack was going for $2 million. I think what we're going to see is Megapack's price is going to come down to below $1 million for a 3 megawatt hour pack, where the megawatts are going to go up. And on a revenue per kilowatt hour basis or revenue per megawatt hour basis, it's actually going to be less than cars. And that's not that big of a deal. The other side of it is margins. As they scale the business, I think the cost of Megapack is ultimately going to come down dramatically. As they build the machine that builds the machine that builds the Megapack, they're going to get the cost of producing Megapack down between $40 a kilowatt hour lithium iron phosphate cells, and just better manufacturing equipment, better manufacturing approach to producing Megapacks. I think we're going to see this cost come down, and we're going to see this be even higher margin than what Tesla's making on vehicles, not including FSD. And then there's other ideas. Can Tesla make money using AutoBidder? Can Tesla build their own Megapack farms? This is actually one of the thoughts I had, was Tesla should just start building its own Megapack farms and balancing the grid themselves. Other people have suggested that. I think it's a smart business plan. There might be a reason why they're not doing it, but I wouldn't be surprised to see that happen in the future. Please check out below to buy the stainless steel water bottle. Check out the t-shirts. Buy my book, Fair DUI. Check out my other videos. I hope you appreciate this. This is an odd video for me because it's a little more nerdy than I usually do. Thank you so much for watching.